Hello, and welcome to the Pain-Free Living Summit, where you will learn how to end pain and discover the right treatment for you. I'm Renee Harrison, your host. I'm an integrative nutrition health coach, a healer, a wellness facilitator, and a writer and a speaker. I've gathered together many of my own personal coaches, mentors, and influencers right here on this online event. Each of these experts will share with you what they have taught me that you can live a pain-free life. It's my mission to connect you with as many mentors and healers as I can here. With me today is Sylvia Salcedo. She's a board-certified acupuncturist and holistic health coach. As a facilitator of breath and sound work and an energy medicine healer, she's known for her intuitive approach to wellness. She's spoken at University of Colorado, Metropolitan State University, and is featured in the Shape magazine. She is also a clinical director of the Acupuncture Lounge in Denver, Colorado. Our topic today is the healing power of sound. Welcome, Sylvia.
Hello. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here in this incredible summit that you're putting together with all these powerful expert leaders. Thank you for bringing me on board.
Thank you. I stepped on you a little bit there. What was the last thing you said?
I think it was just thank you.
Okay. So Sylvia, I have I've been so excited waiting for our opportunity to talk because you're doing some great work in the world. And so I'm really curious. The one thing that we didn't talk about when we spoke before was, how did you get into doing acupuncture with sound therapy and breath work? Where did that come?
So my journey to healing actually starts when I was really young. I actually started following my father around the hospital when I was 8 years old. He would take me on the weekends and I would do rounds with him. And I fell in love with the relationship he had with his patients. He was such a good doctor and they loved him. And he built this beautiful relationship and I really admired that. And so since a young age, I knew I wanted to go into healing. But as I got older, I remember in my teens, and I'm still following my dad around the hospital and rounds, and we go see this cardiac patient who had just finished this surgery on his heart. And he's lying in his bed, and there's a big gulp, a 7-Eleven big gulp there. And I remember thinking, like, I think they had a balance here. There was nothing mentioned about diet, nothing mentioned about, lifestyle or anything. And so from a young age, I was also like, something is not all aligned here in the Western medical field. And that's when I really started to journey into alternative medicine. Mm-hmm. So my first professional education was studying ethnobotany at the University of Hawaii. And my thesis was on Tibetan medicine, which actually led me to Nepal. And I was studying with these Tibetan doctors, and one of the fundamental principles entered into my existence, and that was this beautiful idea that they had about health and wellness. And they saw disease as a tree. The branches were the symptoms and the root was the core of what was happening. And so we would be seeing the symptoms, but you'd always work your way back down to the root. And in Tibetan medicine, their belief was that disease began in the mind. So after I finished that study, I went on to study acupuncture and oriental medicine. And it really put together the philosophy and the idea of holistic healing, how one organ system moves into the other. We have this idea and this understanding of the 5 elements. And every element has an organ system that it's related to and a function in the body. And if one organ system is out of balance, it can influence the other system. So we're continually looking at the entire perspective of the system. So if someone comes in, for instance, let's say fatigue, then I'm taking a look at what's happening with their function of the digestion system or their adrenal function, their core energy. Everything is related together. So while I was in school, I began to what brought me into sound actually was I was scared of needles. I would have these we'd have to needle each other and I'd be like, oh my God, how can I get out of here? Where do I go? I mean, I gotta go, I got a doctor's appointment. I'd just get out of there because I was so needle sensitive. One of my teachers was a sound therapist. And so I found a way that I could actually use the principles of the medicine that I'd fallen so in love with, but a different tool, and that was sound. So we would use tuning forks, or I used tuning forks on the acupuncture points. So the acupuncture points are the system that we use to activate the organs. to activate the body to bring balance. So let's say that person comes in with fatigue, and I realize, okay, well, there's an imbalance here in the digestive system, then I'm going to use the acupuncture points to bring energy to the organ system, to strengthen the organ system, to bring balance back into the body. But now I have two tools that I can use. I can use the needles, but then I can also use the tuning forks. So that was my step into like loving this medicine, but being able to use it on myself and other people who were needle sensitive, because most often acupuncture is like, oh my God, it's needles. And I understand that fear, even though they're much thinner than a needle you're going to get to have blood out. But it's another layer and a way of getting the principles, the wonderful principle, the wonderful practice that acupuncture has to offer, but using the sound therapy. And so I ended up taking the sound therapy actually to another level as well, because I began to understand and realize that the sound also played a principal role in relaxing the mind and the body, and really bringing the system back down. Now, I have this belief in the philosophy that disease, going back to that Tibetan principle that I originally learned, that disease starts in the mind, that we've got these symptoms that are coming from this imbalance in the body, but even below that imbalance, there's our emotional well-being and how we're feeling. So stress, for instance, plays a big role in creating chronic health issues or digestive issues, or the fatigue that we can no longer kind of hold on to. So if we look down and we go deeper into the body, we have this emotional well-being that is the foundation of our health. And sound is a wonderful tool to help us tap into that place and bring the stress levels down, bring us back home. I like to call it our home base. I believe that our home base is where we're most centered, we're grounded, where the mind is quiet, we feel at ease, we feel happy. This is our home base. But so often we're triggered and we're moved out of that place. And we're living in these kind of higher sense of stress, overwhelm, anxiety. And so if we really want to heal, it's like, what are the tools that we can use to bring us back down to our home base? And sound is a powerful tool to do that. I believe sound is a powerful tool to do that, and science has shown this as well, is because our body is mostly made up of water. We've got all these cells, right? And so the body is going to experience or feel the sound that's placed on it. There are these studies that show when you have these crystals, sound is placed and you can see the crystals that form on the water. So if you have relaxing and soothing sound, then these gorgeous crystals form. And if you bring honking or metallic or something intense, the crystals kind of dissipate and they become fractured. And so that our body is made out of water. It's very receptive to sound being played on it. So we can use sound to calm the mind, to bring us back home, to cultivate our home base. The more we cultivate this strong home base, we're able to notice when we're out of balance and bring ourselves back home by using our breath work, by using meditation, by awareness, by even playing music, helping our bodies come back home.
Yes. Oh, you said so much there, and it's just beautiful. Like, what a great story, and bringing us from Nepal to, the Western medicine and bringing them together, and also just even nature has, we talked about this in our conversation before about how nature has made us vessels, or all of our parts are, our ears vibrating drums, our voices a vibrating, voice box. We're built for sound, aren't we?
We are built for sound, and it's all around us. And when we can start tuning into like how different sounds make us feel, it's really powerful, right? Putting your home with soothing music. You're creating a home that is going to help you feel better. I remember actually my dad got cancer. He had pancreatic cancer, but luckily he's on the other side. He's healed. But I remember when he was in the hospital and he was healing from that, I would go with my tuning forks and I would play a sound bath over him, or I would put music into his room. I would create an atmosphere of healing in the medical field, and it just helped him heal. It helped him feel so better. So it's like when we have a loved one or ourselves that's dealing with a medical issue, really kind of creating the energy around us to bring that energy of sound and vibration and healing into our lives. Getting the music playing. There's a lot of wonderful ways to find music through Pandora. You know, at our clinic, we put meditation music, and all these beautiful playlists come up, right? So there's a lot of ways to find and bring that music into your lives. And if you are in a place of healing, just creating your home or your bedroom with beautiful music to help you feel better. Or if you have a loved one in the hospital, bringing that music to them, bringing them, you can play it on your phone. You can bring a little speaker in, but allowing them to feel the vibration and the soothing music and help them heal their bodies. Because hospitals can be, they're sterile, right? We've got a lot of emotions. Excuse me. Still have my little throat thing from last week.
Oh, yes.
A hospital, when we're in a place of surgery, for instance, getting out, or we're dealing with something in the hospital, those rooms are cold, right? They're very sterile, they're cold. So the more that we can bring in that yummy vibration to help us feel better, to help our loved ones feel better, we will heal quicker, and we'll feel better in the process of it. Bringing the music into the hospital, bringing the music into your room, into your home, music that feels good.
Oh, he's so lucky to have you. I mean, pancreatic cancer is something that there's a high percentage of people that do not recover from. And I believe it was Steve Jobs. That's what he passed from, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I'm just so grateful for you to share that story with us, because it just illustrates exactly why I think this message and all of your messages are so important to get out there. We have tools. We have nature has provided us with ability to switch on that parasympathetic nervous system to calm down the mind, calm down the vagus nerve,
Right.
Get into a state of healing. Right? It's just
continually bringing us back home. Right?
Yes.
One other thing I wanted to share about sound is that when I was in private practice working a lot with acupuncture, children, I used the sound therapy on children because we see acupuncture for older kids. Maybe 13 is a good time to start, even though I did needle my children every once in a while when they were asleep. But it's hard to get little kids to come in and have acupuncture. But I found the tuning forks to be so powerful. You'll get a child who has ADHD, who's hyperactive and wanting to find a way to calm down. I bring them onto my table. I set up the bowls and I put the tuning forks on their body, and immediately this child just kind of sinks in. It's their ability to find their home base, their ability to get the same type of healing. So for mothers out there, families out there who are looking for ways to help heal their children, or alternative medicine to help, it could be for digestive disorders or eczema even, or ADHD, sleeping problems. These are really, the tuning forks and sound healing is very powerful for our children. So when we're looking for ways, a natural way that we can help our children, sound healing is an incredible tool to help bring into the family that way as well.
And thank you for mentioning that, because, spring break just ended here in BC, Canada, and my boys are 13, and 15. So yesterday there was a meltdown between the twins, and like if I had had tuning forks in the house, or, some way to change the vibration, it was pretty intense, but luckily they solved it fairly quickly. One left the house and they just sort of went on with their day. But I'm always looking for ways to help with not just, their own healing and my own healing and boundaries, but the family dynamic, right? Because, spring break, 2 weeks, being cloistered close together in close quarters, it gets to be, we have a very high stress kind of world, and people think differently and rub each other the wrong way. It will happen. And Yeah. So, how do we fill up our toolbox with the things that we can just actively grab quickly? Oh, you got something else.
Yeah, I realized I should have brought some more, but I had this one hot lying here, so this is perfect. So yeah, this is a tuning bowl, a singing bowl.
Singing bowl, yeah.
Yeah, the singing bowls, this one, there's different types of singing bowls. This is a Tibetan singing bowl. So this bowl is made out of 7 sacred metals, and they put them all together and they make these beautiful bowls. What's wonderful too is just kind of having them lying around the house, and especially if you have children, because they will naturally be drawn to play with them. So that sound is going to immediately go into their energy, into their field. And so if we can, from a young moment, teach our children how to find that home base, we are working on, all the depression that's occurring these days, the suicide rates that's going on with our young ones. So finding ways at a young age to have them work their way in, to have them find their home base, teaching them when they're out of balance is going to be so helpful for them as they get older. So I have a little one, she's 4. I'll put them on the floor and she'll just go around and play with them. And I'm not telling her like, oh, you're meditating, I just am allowing her to kind of be in the energy of this space with them very young. And my 8-year-old, now I'll have her go to the room and I'll have her do her breathing techniques and I'll have her meditate. I'm working on her now finding that home base. When we have an incident and she goes into timeout, timeout is like, hey, go meditate. Go spend some time in your room in playing with the bowls or going inwards. Really teaching them these tools because I think that's really important. I never got taught these tools. And it wasn't until I was older that I was dealing with emotional issues that I had to find my own way. But as mothers and as parents, we can teach our children from a young age how to find that home base, how to create that place where you love yourself, where your mind is quiet, so you can go out to the world and be able to kind of defend off the intensity of things that are coming in your direction.
And I love that. Someone introduced me to the Tibetan singing bowl, but in a different format. They taught me that you can get an app that you can put on your phone, and you can set it for every 15 minutes it'll go off and gong, or every half hour. Or so I used to set it for an hour, and then that would remind me when I heard my bell, I'd be like, oh yeah, right, deep breath. Right? Yes, it was just fantastic. It got me through some real intense time when we were separating and divorcing. So, yeah.
You need those little tools, right? Those little reminders of like, back home, back home. What a brilliant idea to put it on your phone and, get that reminder continually, because it's a process that we have to learn. Right? Sometimes we can forget about it and, we'll feel it feels really good, and then we'll go on and be doing something else and we'll forget, right? But when you set that intention and that time on your phone, and it's like, okay, there's the hour, stop and breathe. The next hour you set it, there's the hour, stop and breathe. Or whatever that time frame that you need, those reminders. Such a brilliant idea. I'm so glad that you shared that.
Yeah, and it was so simple. It didn't cost anything, and it didn't matter if people knew what I was doing or didn't know what I was doing. I could close my eyes, not close my eyes, you know what I mean? Go to the washroom, whatever. Like, it was my own personal coping mechanism, right? And coping skill, I should say. Because I was building a skill set of how to cope through a very difficult time. So
and that's what it's all about. It's like developing the skill set, how to cope with the emotional stress that's happening in this world.
Yes.
Right? And that's kind of the message of the core of what I teach in my principle of healing is like, we need to learn how to cope with the emotional barrage of things that come towards us. Because when we can allow it to move through, we can find peace through it, then we're going to be healthier. It's not going to affect our endocrine system. It's not going to create more inflammation in our body. It's going to allow our parasympathetic to be turned on and quiet our system. Another beautiful thing that's happening across the country, and I'm sure around the world, are these events called a sound bath, or it might be a gong bath, But what it is it's oftentimes in an open space, and people come together and they lie down in a meditative state. And there's a practitioner there that puts people into a meditation using the gongs, using singing bowls, using all different kinds of instruments. And they're powerful, powerful sessions that you can go and experience the power of sound in these beautiful areas with people around you, all with the intention to bring ourselves back home, all in the intention of calming the mind. So those are quite beautiful as well. And I run some of them here in Denver, but I've seen them in LA, in New York, some of the bigger cities. But it's just Googling, for instance, sound bath in the city that you live in. And that's a great way to experience the power of sound for yourself, a way to bring that energy back home.
Thank you. I took a note of that. That's fantastic. I mean, I'm thinking about retreats. People are actually asking me to hold retreats. And a client of mine just handed me a travel magazine yesterday and was like, "Oh, I was reading this article." She's 75.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, she handed me this magazine and said, "Well, I was thinking of you. Maybe you would like to do this." And I'm like, "Yes." I just love my clients. They know me.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So putting them into retreats where you can get that energy is wonderful.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'll have to invite you up.
I would love that. That would be amazing.
Fantastic. So, what other, I mean, you've given us a singing bowl, you've told us about, music, the power of music and the healing power of sound. And I see like you have crystals hanging behind you. So tell us a little bit about crystals and
Okay.
sound. Yeah.
Yeah, so when I do my healing, when I do sound healing, I actually bring in a variety of different instruments and a variety of different tools. So actually in my hand right now, I've got this rose quartz. Rose quartz is very grounding and full of love. When you're kind of showing up to the world like this, I needed some protection not protection, but just like some grounding into my heart that it's okay to show up. It's okay to say what you're going to say. And so I've used crystals myself and using them with my clients as well. So I'll bring someone onto the table. I use like a traditional massage table for my work, and I'll place crystals around the body. Okay, so I'll place, this is smoky quartz. It helps to clear negative energy. So I'll place crystals around the bed, and then I'll place the singing bowls as well around the bed. So just imagine someone's lying there. Maybe they'll have a large bowl by their legs, some smaller bowls by their hips, and different frequency bowls by their head. Because one thing, let me teach this, is that singing bowls have different frequencies and they help with different chakras of the body. So the larger bowls are more grounding, and we use them at the lower parts of the body. And we work our way up in size along the body, where the smaller, higher frequency bowls are placed to the top of the head. So I've got my clients on the table. They're surrounded by bowls and crystals. And then I'll begin to bring in maybe some drumming. I'll use drumming as well, because drumming is very, I don't know, I feel like it brings us back to the earth. It's very grounding and nurturing to the soul, right? Yeah, right to the heart. So I have beautiful experiences bringing that drumming in. So I'll start off with some drumming, get people connected back to the earth, connected back to this information that they once knew of who they were. And then I'll use the tuning forks on the body, a variety of different tuning forks, shorter forks, longer forks. And the forks are all actually in connection to the cosmos around us. So I have forks that are earth-based. I have forks that are based on the moon and the sun and are based on the different elements around us. So just understanding what I'm going to do on the body, I use a specific fork that I want to bring in that energy. So the patient's lying, I'm using the forks, and then I'm using the sound, and we've got the crystals. And the most recent tool that I'm bringing into this delicious session is breath work. Really connecting them to their breath, because breath is such a powerful tool. Breath grounds us back into the body, just like the sound does. As you can see, all my work is about bringing everybody back home to their home base, to their truth. So breath work of bringing them back home, and then also breath allows them to kind of experience and expand into these different dimensions if we do this certain type of breathing. So layering it all above. got the patient, you've got the crystals to clear the energy and to bring the energy of what we want. We've got the singing bowls, we've got the tuning forks, and the breath. And then I might play on the side some crystal bowls as well, which are different frequencies and are very angelic, right? They have this beautiful angelic clearing sense of the body. And when we do gong baths, or when we do the sound bath, I'll bring in the gongs, which are these big, beautiful, deep soul vibrations that come into the process. So I'm very much into layering. I'm a Libra. So things need to feel good and be beautiful around me. And so that's how I bring that energy into my practice.
Yes.
Layering all these tools that I have found in my over 20 years of experience that I know bring us back home, that I know have that energy of reminding us who we are, reminding us of our beauty and our love and the strength that exists within each of us. And that is the core of healing the rest of the stuff that comes to the surface. The branches, the symptoms, right? Bringing us back to our core.
Yeah, so many juicy things there.
Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to get back to the drumming part. So Aboriginals, First Nations, they always brought drumming in, especially for somebody who was convalescing and they were healing, and so the shamans would use them to remind them of the heartbeat. Right? It gets you in line with the heartbeat. And I know that I experienced this personally going on a shamanic journey and was taken into the beginning of the journey, into the meditation with the drumming beat. And then as it started to sound like a heartbeat, I just it was so freeing for the spirit. It was awesome. But the other thing too is you're saying all these layers, and you're bringing people back to themselves, so that they, I believe, they can show up as their best self, and it's a ripple effect, right? The more we heal, and the lighter our vibrations, and the more love we're showing ourselves, and therefore demonstrating how to love, others. Because really, if you don't have it within, you can't share it, right?
Totally. I completely agree with that idea. It's like we've got to do our work first, right? Me showing up as a mother, like if I'm not grounded, if I'm not loving in a loving place, then how do I show up for my children, right? How do I create this next generation of healers and lovers if I'm not in that place? So really continually getting back to that core base. Or if we're dealing with anxiety and stress and overwhelm, like we're in our heads, like working our way back home so that we trust ourselves, so that we can show up with confidence, so we can show up to this world what we're meant to be doing. All of those things bringing us back to our truth and getting that vision of what feels right and what doesn't feel right. When you really cultivate that strong home base, something feels out of alignment, you're going to know right away, versus before when you don't have that strong base, you're like, oh, well, maybe I should do this, or God, that doesn't feel right, but I'm just going to do it because I'm used to doing it. It's like really bringing you back home to ground yourself, to be who you are meant to be, show up who you're meant to be. That is the strongest healing that we can do. When we know what to say no to, when we know what doesn't feel good, what relationships no longer serve us, what actions no longer serve us. Having that awareness of this is who I am, this is my strong base, is the key to the healing, the key to the future of our healing and where we need to go.
Thank you, Sylvia. You're a total embodiment of somebody who has found themselves, and knows their purpose, and you are so passionate in showing your gifts and free with sharing your gifts. I just love it.
Thank you. Again, it's been my work as well, right? And I'm so honored to be in this work because I'm continually working on myself through sharing this work, right? So, and for my family and those around me. It's been beautiful. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Well, and we're all on, I believe in progression, not perfection. We're all progressing, we're just
I love that.
Moving forward. So no judgment in it, right?
No judgment in it, exactly. Just one step forward, you fall off, great. Just work your way back up again and try again, right?
Yes. Absolutely. So where can people find you? I'm sure people are going to want to look for you now.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so you can find me on my website, which is sylviasalcedo.com. You can find me over on Instagram at sylvia.salcedo. And then I'm over at Facebook, Sylvia Salcedo LAC. And the LAC is just the short for acupuncture. So those are the places that I'm kind of roaming around. Instagram is where I've got a lot of kind of food and inspirational quotes and things like that. My Facebook is where I move into more trainings and things like that. And my website is where if you want to work one-on-one with me, that's where you can find me. So I do sessions one-on-one here in Denver, but I also do online sessions as well. So if you're wherever you are around the world, we're able to create this energy in this space through the breath work, through the coaching of how to help you get back to that home base. If that's something that you've been missing in your wellness repertoire, if you feel like there's a piece missing, then this is a great way to fill in that piece, that emotional, spiritual growth piece of the whole wellness.
Awesome. Beautiful. And do you have a free gift offer for people today?
I'm so excited to share this because what it is, it's a sound healing recording. It's a sound bath. So if you don't find a sound bath, if you want to have a sound bath, I have made one for you, and you can find it in the link, and it's a 40-minute sound bath. So the way that you can use it is you can use it in your meditation. You can use it when you're taking a bath. You can use it to just play in your home. If you have if you have someone sick in the hospital, bring it to the hospital. Allow that vibration of the music to help calm the mind, to help bring you back home. So one great way is to focus on your breath. When you breathe in, your belly expands. And when you breathe out, your belly contracts. So all the breath work is actually coming from your belly, not from your chest. This is called a relaxation breath. So if you focus on that breath and then play the sound bath, it's just pure divine healing coming right to you.
Awesome.
Very relaxed and you'll enjoy it. Or if you have trouble sleeping, pop it on your phone and listen to it and allow that to help you fall asleep.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that gift.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I hope you all really enjoy it.
Yes, I'm sure they will. All right. Well, Sylvia, I'm full of gratitude and love. So thank you so much for joining me here on the Pain-Free Living Summit.
I am so grateful for you bringing me on board. I'm so grateful for this event and the summit that you're doing, bringing so much beautiful knowledge. Thank you. And thank you for everything that you're doing.
You're welcome. Namaste.
Namaste.
All right. Bye-bye.